Well, even though no time has elapsed on your screen, about 5 hours in real time has elapsed, and we're back at the site of the demolition of the Green Bridge in Morrisonville on July 2nd, 2014. The big equipment is now operating on the west side of the bridge. You can hear the sounds as I walk a little bit farther, and its great jaws are crunching the metal, bringing the last girders of this 1946 bridge to the ground as I try to get a little closer to the jaws and watch them work. It certainly is a sight to behold. When this bridge was constructed all those years ago, little did those construction people know that it would be coming down in 2014. Look at this. I wanted to make sure I got here just in time, and I did. Because this would be the last main part of the superstructure to be torn apart. These big arms are so powerful. Moving back and forth on this girder to break it off and bring it to the ground. They said this morning, listen to this. They said this morning that it would all be down by afternoon, and they weren't kidding. We're standing in the walking lane along the bridge right now watching this equipment work. I'm going to move a little bit farther on so we get a bird's eye view for our viewers of the Green Bridge in Morrisonville going to the ground. There are some pieces of the bridge remaining on land, as they said it would be dragged across the river and torn down this afternoon, and they are absolutely correct. I'm walking as it's working. Trucks and cars are going by, crossing the one-lane bridge, the temporary bridge that's been set up here. Perhaps you can see the graffiti written on the bridge if I get a little closer. You can actually read it. The bucket of one of the machines is holding down part of the structure on land, right here, while the other one works to dismantle the large steel girders. Like a giant tinker toy, it does its thing. There are very few spectators left. They were all here early this morning. There it goes, folks. You're witnessing another piece of history on hometown cable. Now the other one lifts up and moves her way, and turns, and backs off. This one will continue its work, crushing and bending and twisting and crunching, and it drops it in the garbage pile. These parts will be lifted up and placed on a large truck. We understand they'll be going to the salvage yard at Keysville. We heard an unofficial report this morning that this entire bridge project, the dismantling and removal of the bridge plus the building of a new bridge, will cost about $10 million. It will only be a shadow of its former self, though, as it'll be one of those modern low-profile bridges. And there he goes. He's going to put it on the truck. just crashed. And so, history is made in the village of Morrisonville, now on the town of Schuyler Falls side, as the green bridge is gone. Little did we really believe what they said when they told us they could have this dismantled by this afternoon. Look how powerful these things are. Giant machines under the control of mankind. For how many years we don't know, before they develop their own intelligence and conquer the world, as the sci-fi movies would have us believe. So, if there is a death knell, perhaps you've been listening to it. It's now 20 minutes before 2 in the afternoon. We started our program before 7 o'clock this morning. And we wrap it up here as I believe we will have the most inclusive and complete chronicle of the removal of the big green bridge in Morrisonville. As always, we thank you for watching. We always thank our viewers for your many comments and suggestions as to where we should go and who we should talk to next on our little corner. It pleases us to be able to do at least 50 or 55 of these programs every year for the last 17 years. We've covered many events. We've seen many spectacles like the one we have here today. We've interviewed many interesting people. And this one for youngsters and oldsters alike, I'm sure will be educational, interesting, and maybe even a little bit exciting. Who doesn't like to watch the big equipment as it works? Watch this as they drop it into the truck once again. Thanks to my son Dale Baker, who worked for the Department of Transportation for almost 30 years before retiring in recent years. He got the information ahead of time and said, "Gordy, they're taking the bridge down tomorrow. It'll be in the river." I said, "What time?" And Dale said, 7 o'clock, and I said, "We'll be here." As our kids gathered together and we gathered together after our first cup of coffee, and came here to watch it all happen. For those of you who like this program and appreciate the time and effort we've spent over the years doing these programs, in order to keep them going, there are expenses with Calvin Cast Iron and Hometown Cable. There are expenses of time, and of course the money for gas, which wasn't much because I walked here from my house, which is only 1,000 feet away. So my point is, if you can, and you have the wherewithal, please take time to write a generous check. Address it to Hometown Cable, our little corner, to specify this particular program, and send it to Calvin Cast Iron, 1477 Ridge Road in Champlain, New York. We thank you very much for doing that. As always, we thank you for watching. We have enjoyed what we've been doing here with our little corner for over 17 years, and will continue as long as we can if you send your checks to help us out. Meanwhile, oblivious to all of this, life goes on both sides of the mighty Saranac River as people cross the temporary bridge. And work here continues. If we can, we'll try to chronicle some of the events leading up to the construction of a brand new bridge over the last year or the next year or so. And as I always like to end the program by saying, who knows where we're going to be next time for our little corner.